Hey YouTubers, this is Purple Cookie 80 with your Friday Y&R review for the end of the week. We made it through again, so this is what I think my fourth week, I believe. I'm doing good, huh? I hope, because I have really been feeling bad. I have tension in my neck now. But moving on before I get cut off. Sharon and Victor have dinner at Glowworm. She babbles about learning that Nick and Phyllis are engaged. Victor eyebrows almost pop off. He's surprised. He assumed Phyllis must be pregnant. But she changed the subject and turned it to his grandson since Jack and Victoria had just walked in with the baby. He says Billy's B isn't part of his family, so you know the B word when you don't have a daddy, whatever. Sharon thinks that it's a bad idea that he has that attitude, and Jack and Victoria stare back across the room. Um, it says better Victor than Adam, not a whole lot better, because Sharon, they see that Sharon and Victor are together, and they was like, oh, here she go, cleaning to somebody else. It's like better Victor than Adam, not a whole lot better, but hey. So Victor walks over to announce that he wants to get to know the baby, and one day you can tell him bedtime stories about how you used him to come between his mother and father. That's what Jack said. So and he left. He rolled off. No, I didn't mean to say rolled off. That was too soon. He walked. He went away. So the baby like blows bubbles and all that. Now this is the new baby blowing raspberries already, but that's fine. Back at the house, Phyllis and Nick are with Summer, and she's getting ready to go to this summer party, and it's like a baby theme. So Phyllis has pulled out all this old baby stuff from when Summer was a baby, and I guess Daniel too. I don't know because there was some blue stuff up in there too. So some of the stuff Summer doesn't remember, and some of the stuff she does. So um, she says that they should have another baby, and they look shocked. They don't want to. They want to tell her, but they really don't want to tell her, but they don't tell her anyway. So they say, well, maybe that'll happen one day. So they send her on. Nick gets to rubbing the Phyllis's belly, and telling her that the pregnancy is a gift, and they gonna be happy, and he said see her happy again, and they continue to go through the baby box and recollecting their thoughts, and she tells him how she loves him and says she isn't worried at this time. Adam paces around his room yakking on the phone. He's trying to buy some shares of Face Place, not Facebook, because the Facebook, I don't think they can say that over the TV. But Chelsea shows up, and she want to go out to dinner, but she don't want to eat there. She want to go somewhere else. So they decide to go to Glowworm, where everybody else is, and they see Sharon and all the other people there. So he thinks they should leave, but she said no. Let's get a table. You know why we have to leave. So they stay. As he walk over to thank Sharon for the birthday card, Chelsea go to check on the baby. Victoria get up and leave and go change the baby diaper, which kind of upset Chelsea. So as she did that, Chelsea Chelsea what else can I say? Victor come over to talk with Chelsea and ask what she doing, and remind her that the baby is no longer hers, so she needs to stay away. So she gets upset, and she's like, why is that any of your business? And he said, as of now, it is my business. Because, he said he's trying to get a relationship with the baby. And Sharon reminded him not to be that way because, they accepted, what's the little girl's name? Sharon's the Cassie. They accepted Cassie, and Cassie didn't belong to Nick. And so that wouldn't be fair for him to be like that. So, everybody going back and forth and stuff. So Adam and Chelsea just decided to leave. She was like, I can't get out of here no faster. So Victor decides to tell Sharon he has to go. So he leaves, and he stops by the table to talk to the baby first. And Victoria wants to know what. After Victor he goes by the table to talk to the baby, and he's like looking at him, and he's like, such a cute boy, don't give your mommy a hard time. And that was a cute little bond. Then he went on a leave because he had to go. So Sharon decided to stop off at the table, and she asked, Victoria if she could look at the baby, and she said sure, and she said he was just a cutie pie, and congratulations. So Victoria asked her what's the deal with her daddy, and where she might be latching on to him. So Nick and Phyllis, they decide, because Phyllis started to get hungry, and Nick was like, we need to feed my baby and all that. So they go over to Glowworm, and they bump into Sharon, and she's congratulating them, and they go sit with Victoria and the baby, because Billy had to leave. Billy was with Kyle, so she feels fills him in about Sharon being there with Dad, and she's like, he was nonchalant about it. He's like, he's probably just there to talk to her. He didn't think they would cross any lines. So over at the bar, Phyllis says, okay, I'm gonna go get drinks, but Sharon is still there, but she's sitting at the bar. So Sharon over here, Phyllis ordering a ginger ale, and she looked strange, and she was like, I heard you order a ginger ale. You wouldn't be pregnant, would you? And so Phyllis just looked. And she goes, Sharon was like, I don't care what you do anymore. And no, yeah, Phyllis tells Sharon that nobody cares about what she doing anymore. So Sharon just leave. Phyllis go back and tell Nick that they need to go because she's spotting. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that. I hope she don't lose the baby, because that'd be just devastating. Billy and Kyle at the bar. They having beers. They're talking about Victor and how he moved into the house. Billy's mad at him about it. Um, he warned him about the dangers of trusting and relying on Victor, which he called the mustache. Kyle admits he took a job from Newman. Billy is like real mad about that. He was like, "You gonna end up being another chew toy." And so Kyle thinks he's a downer and chases after another woman or whatever. And as his as Billy is getting ready to leave, he calls Jack. No, he calls Billy leaves because he had called Victor on the telephone and told him he needed to meet with him. When he called Victor, he was like, "Did you make the wrong phone call?" He was like, "No, I made the right phone call, but I need to meet with you." So Kyle decided to, act like he was the big man on campus and start telling anybody, "You want to get in the door game with me? If I win, I'll pay for everybody drinks." And then Jack shows up and he challenges him, and they get to talking, and Kyle don't like what he have to say, so he leaves. Victor and Billy meet at Newman office. Billy's going back and forth about being involved with his nephew, and he don't think it's a good idea. And he's like, Kyle's a grown man; he can do whatever he want to do. And he was like, uh, he said, he refuses to learn anything from a drunk, oversexed adolescent. And they go back and forth about how he shouldn't have been with Chelsea when he knew he was married. And he was like, well, you did that, you set me up. And he was like, why don't you take responsibility for your own actions? And I feel sorry for your daughter, because I hope you better watch her close and make sure she don't get involved with no man like you. And he's like, don't worry about my daughter, you worry about yourself. And I mean, it was just a big old back and forth thing they had. And then Kyle shows up, and he's like, what are you doing, man? You can change your mind, don't do this. And he was like, I got this, I'll do it, I'll handle it. Billy just leaves. Victor's like, Kyle's like, Victor, you okay? He's like, oh no, I'm not worried about your Uncle Billy. He'll worry about his own self. But as long as you want to stay at my house and work here, I'm fine with. Um, Chelsea and Adam go back to the room. She's all upset about Victor. Um, and then they start kissing and having their thing going on. Uh, and and Adam tells her, you just have to learn to live with it, because she's like, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it? And he said, you just have to learn to deal with it. So after they do that thing, comes back, Victor calls her on the telephone and tell her to get out of town. He'll give her $10 million. She tell Adam and asks Adam what would he do if he was her. He said he can turn 10 million into 100 million. So I don't know if she gonna take the money or not. Jack goes by Victoria and Billy's house for a visit. Billy say that he, that Kyle is working for Victor. Jack had no idea. He was upset, and he's like, well, he just gonna have to learn his lesson on his own. for dealing with the Black Knight. That's just what he gonna have to do. So Victoria admits that Victor visited, because they were saying that Billy didn't want Victor no part of the baby's life, and she was like, well, he did kind of have a little moment with him at the club when you left, and he's like, I don't want him nowhere near my baby ever again, and that's my boundaries. And me and you gonna have to discuss it later on. And she kind of looked off like, oh gosh, I didn't want to have this conversation. So Sharon runs over to Victor's office, and she's still upsetting her about Phyllis being married, getting married and pregnant and all of that stuff. And she goes ranting to Victor about how you the only one that's ever been there for me. You've always been there for me. You listen to me. You're the only one that care about me. You've never changed on me. And she just all of a sudden just kissing. Just, she's so pathetic. She is just that thing now. Sharon, her role is over. She needs to move around. Anyway, so that's what happened. Monday, it says Neil and Harmony bump into each other, and you know, he tell her he don't want her to go, don't leave. But I don't know what that means. And Nikki asks Victor and Sharon, am I interrupting something? Because she pops up at the office I guess when they had just finished kissing or whatever. So Jack and Ashley are talking, and she's telling him about, Tucker and Genevieve being a couple at one point. And he's like, are you sure? And she said, I'm positive. I guess he didn't think it was worth mentioning. So that's what's going to happen a little bit on Monday. So I'll be back, you guys, on tomorrow night with your Y&R spoilers for the next week. So again, thank you for watching, and I'm sorry it's been like half step a little bit, but like I said, I haven't been feeling well, but I did want to get y'all a video up. I know I was like all over the place with these videos, these last few, but please forgive me. I'm just not feeling well, and I'm trying to get better. I'm just trying to wrap it up faster, or get my 15 minutes in or under 15 minutes, and when I'm feeling, a little better or well, to get it up there. So hopefully next week will be a better week for me. I am a student, so I do have finals this week. So if I can get it to you as fast as I usually do, if I have to get it a little late next morning, but this is the last week, so it should be better. But I have to focus because this is the last week of school, and I have to get it done. So thank you guys for watching, and I appreciate you. I really do. If there's anything else that you can add that I left out or forgot or want to know about what happened on the show, just leave it in the comments or whatever, and I'll see you guys later. You have a great week, a great weekend, and I'll post up the spoilers tomorrow night for you guys to see tomorrow night, or Sunday or Monday, whenever you watch it, wherever it is. And talk to you later. Not talk to you later, but see, I'll video you guys later. So have a great Friday. Bye bye.